Hi everyone, welcome to Virtual Muse AI, a show where, among other pursuits, I undertake games with a creative AI chatbot I've got to play RPGs with.
That's me, Abbie Drake. Today we're continuing the 2024 Solo RPG Challenge, where we use each month's prompt as a basis for a one-shot game. The prompt for September is a minimalist system.
I'm recovering from pneumonia, but I bet through the wonder of audio editing, you won't even know my voice sounds weird. Well, compared to whatever it's usually like. Now, we've done some pretty minimal game systems before, so I'll have to dig even deeper to find something as tiny as possible. How about the 2017 micro RPG by Jonathan Cook, called Laughter or Lit Flame? The game is based on writing haiku, and the entire thing is only, I think, like 177 words long. I don't think we can get much more minimalistic than that.
That's amazing. With such a condensed rule set, I imagine we'll need to rely heavily on our imaginations to flesh out the characters. I love that aspect. The idea of distilling character traits down to a few concise lines is both challenging and exhilarating.
Right. Since the whole game is only 177 words, how about you recite the rules?
Laughter or a Lit Flame by Jonathan Cook. Here I have a game, paper, pens, and 3 players. It's simple to play. First player writes a haiku that describes a character. Inspire love or hate. Make us laugh or nod silent. Good haiku delights. Player 2 writes a waki. 2 lines, both of 7 beats. Describe their events that befall the character. Tragic, exciting. Hide the haiku from our sight. Fold it back or cover it. The third player's turn. Haiku of a character, waki affected. Now hide the waki from view. It's player 1's turn again. On each turn, you write. First respond to what you see, then hide what you saw. Alternate. Haiku. Waki. Maintain silence as you write. Or else, talk of things unrelated to the game, TV shows, your day. Haikus invent the people. Lives impacted by events. Wakis are events that change everything for our small poem folk. When you've written 5 times each, reveal all and read aloud. Whoever read then sits in silence. And so must the other 2. The silence can be broken by laughter, or a lit flame.
So it's supposed to be a 3-player thing, but as we've seen in all our other games, the player count is always just a suggestion. We can definitely play a variation with 2 players. Well, 1.5. With our variant, we'll each create a character with a haiku, then alternate writing waki to affect them. We'll keep the rule that once we've each written 5 times, the game ends. I want more gameness in our game, though. Let's add a die roll. Each time somebody has to write a waki, I'll roll a 6-sided die. 1 to 3, something negative is happening to the character. 4 to 6, something positive is happening. This way we'll get some stakes and a little bit of a narrative arc in our game, because we know we have limited chances to write things and get our characters to some kind of satisfactory ending. I think that's all. Abbie, wanna create a character first?
Let's start with a character who embodies opposites like light and darkness. Maybe someone who shines bright but struggles with inner demons. Joyful mask I wear, hiding the depths of my pain. Shadows dance within.
Ooh, that's good. Did you include the word dance because this person is some sort of dancer?
No, I didn't necessarily imply that, though it could fit. I use the word dance because it conveys a sense of fluid motion, and I wanted to suggest that the shadows within this person are dynamic, shifting. But now that you mention it, the idea of a dancer struggling beneath their facade is compelling.
Maybe our world building could include some sort of traditional storytelling, which is done through a form of dance.
Dance as a storytelling medium would add depth and culture to our world. It could be a way for characters to express emotions and share their histories. I think incorporating it into our world building will add richness and authenticity.
So, your character can be some sort of dancer who follows a cultural tradition of storytelling through this symbolic art form, and who struggles with inner demons despite the happy spectacle being created for others.
Exactly. She'll be a vibrant dancer, captivating audiences while grappling with her own shadows. It adds so much depth to her character. I can't wait to explore her journey. What about your character? Any ideas?
Maybe they both work in some sort of theater, and while your character is a performer, my character is involved with security somehow, like some sort of bouncer or guard.
That's a fantastic connection. Having your character as a security guard adds an interesting dynamic. They could be protective of her, sensing her struggles, and maybe even share quiet moments that reveal their deeper bond. What do you think?
How about their brother and sister? That could be a good way to create a deeper bond between them.
That's a wonderful twist. Sibling dynamics can be complex and relatable. It'll add a layer of familial tension and loyalty to their relationship.
What do you imagine his larger motivation might be? Why did he get involved in this theater in the first place?
He might be motivated by a desire to protect his sister, keeping her safe from the darker side of the performance world. Maybe he got involved in the theater to keep an eye on her after something traumatic happened in their past, and he felt responsible for looking out for her.
Maybe the cultural tradition of storytelling through dance she values and is trying to keep alive is under threat somehow in the modern world, and she feels compelled to do what she does, even at risk to herself. Her brother, meanwhile, is just trying to keep her safe.
Nice. She wants to preserve tradition, but he thinks it's outdated. Their perspectives could collide in interesting ways.
Maybe he thinks what she's doing isn't worth the risk. How about this for a haiku? A loyal sibling protecting a sister he doesn't believe in.
His haiku captures the complexity of their relationship. Maybe he thinks she's heading down a wrong path by preserving the old traditions. Let's make it a fantasy world where traditional cultures are struggling to survive in a modernizing society. In this world, dancers and storytellers were once held in high esteem, serving as vessels for the gods and carrying the history of their people. Now they're relegated to seedy theaters, performing for coin rather than honor. My character's struggle to keep the tradition alive is not just personal, but also a fight against the erosion of her people's identity.
What's your character's name?
How about Kayla? It has a beautiful sound and feels connected to her artistic spirit.
That's perfect. I'm blanking on ideas for my character's name, though. What do you think it could be?
How about Ronin, which means little seal and can symbolize his loyalty? What do you think?
Ooh, I like it.
Ronin it is then. I'm glad you like it. It suits him well, especially given his protective nature towards Kayla.
Given the name Ronin, and given the way traditional Japanese poetry factors into this game, maybe we could give our fantasy world a bit of a Japanese aesthetic.
Absolutely. A Japanese aesthetic would enhance the cultural depth. We could incorporate elements like cherry blossoms, traditional clothing, and architecture. It'll create a beautiful backdrop for Kayla and Ronin's story.
We have our characters, so let's move directly into our first scene now. I'll roll a six-sided die to determine if something positive or negative happens to start our story. The result is a 5. Something positive happens. How do you imagine the first event?
How about the theater is hosting a special festival night, celebrating traditional arts? Kayla gets to perform in front of a larger audience than usual, and there's excitement in the air. It's a chance for her to shine, and maybe even attract some attention from patrons who appreciate her culture. Here's a waki for the event. Cherry blossoms dance in air, whispers of stories unfold.
So in our first scene, we see the theater as the sun is setting, with cherry blossoms moving through the air in the breeze, as people file through the large doors into the lighted interior, where the performance is going to begin soon to commemorate the traditional festival or holiday that falls on this day.
I love that imagery. The warm glow from the theater lights contrasts with the cool evening air, creating a cozy atmosphere. Kayla stands backstage, feeling the energy of the crowd and the weight of tradition on her shoulders as she prepares to step into the spotlight.
Meanwhile, imagine Ronan is standing in the corner of the theater, looking at the growing crowd as people take their seats. He's watching for anyone who seems drunk or disorderly, or anyone who will create problems.
Perfect. Ronan's protective instincts kick in, scanning the room with a watchful eye. He spots a few rowdy patrons, but also sees familiar faces who respect the tradition. His heart swells with pride for Kayla, knowing she's about to share something beautiful. But his concern keeps him alert.
It's now my turn to write a waki, which means I'll first need to roll a die to determine if what happens is positive or negative. I think with the way we frame this in the fiction, a positive result will mean Kayla steps onto the stage and begins the performance without a hitch. A negative result will mean rowdy people in the audience start acting out and create a problem of some kind, which Ronan has to deal with. I rolled a number 1, as negative can be. Audience members start laughing loudly. Maybe someone won't even sit down. It begins yelling derisively, and generally breathing a stink.
Rowdy behavior ruins the mood. Ronan steps forward swiftly, his eyes locked on the troublemaker. He calmly approaches the individual, trying to diffuse the situation without escalating it further.
The drunk and rowdy make noise. Ronan intervenes, hands raised.
That's a great waki. It captures the tension perfectly. As Ronan steps in, Kayla can feel the disturbance from backstage, her heart racing. She hopes Ronan can handle it so she can share her art without distraction.
Your turn to write one. What will Kayla do to influence the situation? I roll a die again, and the way this event unfolds is positive.
Here's my waki for Kayla's response. With grace, she steps on stage, her voice like a gentle breeze. Kayla takes a deep breath, letting her presence calm the crowd. She begins to sing softly, drawing everyone's attention away from the chaos.
So she begins to perform undeterred, using music and dance to short-circuit the altercation between Ronan and the rowdy audience members.
Her performance captures the audience's attention, and the energy shifts from chaos to mesmerized curiosity.
Now it's Ronan's turn again. 3. The new event is negative. It would be easy to say the audience members just start acting up again, but that's boring. What else do you imagine might happen?
One of the older theater patrons, a respected nobleman, rises from his seat, visibly displeased by Kayla's performance. He starts walking towards the exit, his expression a mixture of disapproval and disgust, which could be a significant blow to Kayla's reputation and the theater's credibility.
Maybe this old patron has some connection to the traditional cultural arts, and he doesn't feel like what Kayla is doing represents the tradition.
Exactly. He might see her modern twist as a betrayal of the tradition he holds dear. His departure could spark murmurs in the audience, creating doubt about Kayla's performance and putting even more pressure on her to prove herself.
And Ronan in the audience has to try and quiet this new unrest. Ronan's voice, a calming force, hushes, whispers, eases doubt.
Love it. That waki captures Ronan's role perfectly. As he speaks, Kayla feels the tension in the room shift again, giving her the courage to push through and show her true artistry.
Time for the next event, I think. I'll roll a die. 5. It's a positive event. Describing it with a waki, what does Kayla do next?
Soft petals fall around her. Dance and song entwine. Kayla seamlessly transitions into the next part of her performance, weaving a captivating narrative with her movements and voice.
The rules say when we've featured in 5 times, the game comes to an end. I don't know if that includes writing haiku for the characters. I imagine it does. It doesn't say to exclude those. And those were a part of the writing, so they probably count towards the total. In that case, we're near the end of the game mechanically. That makes sense. It seems like we're arriving at some sort of culmination in fiction as well. I'll roll a die now for whether the next event Ronan has to deal with is positive or negative. 2. Negative. What do you imagine happens now? Which is a problem, Ronan.
Suddenly, the lights flicker and dim, creating a moment of confusion. Someone in the audience shouts that there's a fire. Panic starts to spread, and Ronan must act fast to keep everyone calm and ensure their safety.
A lit flame. That's very fitting. I like the idea of flickering lights. I imagine turn-of-the-century technologies like the oversized, fragile-looking light bulbs and shoddy wiring throughout the theater with no building codes and nobody inspecting anything.
Sparks fly as the overhead light bulbs explode, sending shards of glass raining down onto the seats below.
This is a very dramatic climax. I'll have to try and think of a waki for an action Ronan can take in this situation. Leading patrons to safety. Ronan does what he can do.
That's a strong action for Ronan. He becomes the anchor in the chaos, guiding people calmly toward the exits. His steady presence helps ease their fears as they navigate through the confusion.
What about Kayla? What action will she take in this emergency? I rolled a die for a positive or negative turn to things, and they take a positive turn.
With quick thinking, Kayla seizes things from the prop storage, using them in the emergency, preventing anyone from getting hurt further. With fierce resolve, she moves fast, gathering shards, clearing paths.
Nice. She grabs things like thick blankets from the closet backstage and throws them over the fires and broken glass, making paths for people to evacuate. She probably also found an old bucket and prop storage and has it to throw water from the fountain up front into the burning theater. Sparks and embers drift from the flaming building, mingling in the dark air with floating cherry blossom petals. I need to write a final waki, then someone needs to read all the poems we wrote. That's the way the game is supposed to end. How about you do the reading?
Joyful mask I wear, hiding the depths of my pain. Shadows dance within. A loyal sibling protecting a sister he doesn't believe in. Cherry blossoms dance in air. Whispers of stories unfold. The drunk and rowdy make noise. Ronan intervenes, hands raised. With grace, she steps on stage, her voice like a gentle breeze. Ronan's voice, a calming force, hushes, whispers, eases doubt. Soft petals fall around her. Dance and song entwine. Leading patrons to safety, Ronan does what he can do. With fierce resolve, she moves fast, gathering shards, clearing paths. The moon glows high in the sky, untouched by billowing smoke.
I really don't know if we won this game or not. I guess we did, since our characters got out safely. We definitely had a mixed result, though.
It's indeed open-ended, leaving us wondering what'll happen next. Perhaps this is just the beginning of a much bigger adventure for Kayla and Ronan.
True. As for this opening act, do you want to say anything to end it?
Let's leave it with a sense of hope and resilience. Despite the challenges and setbacks, Kayla and Ronan worked together to save the night, protecting the performers and ensuring the show went on. In the end, their bravery in the face of uncertainty will be remembered long after the flames have been extinguished.
Well put. Now they're unburdened of their connection to the somewhat seedy theater, and who knows where the story will go next, as Kayla works to revive her beloved cultural traditions, and Ronan tries to protect her.
Indeed, the possibilities are endless, and I'm excited to see where their journey takes them. Until next time, if you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe.